If you've been listening to the news, reading the social media, you know that the pandemic is on the other side of us now, and shelters and rescue organizations who couldn't keep dogs in their facilities at the beginning are now bursting at the seams and no longer taking new dogs. I'm Karen Laws, the interior dog trainer, and I see a ton of dogs here. New dog owners want to do the right thing. They want to adopt a dog and save a life. And then they fall into the rescue dog trap. 5 big mistakes, oops moments that new dog owners make when they adopt a dog from a shelter. We're going to take a deep dive into each one of those mistakes, and I'm going to give you some tips on how you can avoid them or get out of them if you already find yourself in them. The 5 mistakes are the sympathy trap, probably the biggest one, the cuddle overload trap, the gratitude illusion, the chaos of no routine, and finally number 5 is too much, too soon. So let's take a deep dive into each one of those top mistakes that new dog owners, rescue dogs, shelter dogs, and sometimes even new puppy owners make, so that you can learn how to avoid them going forward. Number 1, the biggest mistake that adopters of shelter or rescue organization dogs make is that sympathy trap. The tales of woe that you've heard or that you've imagined, and whether they're real or imagined, can take over and consume you. And that's not what Rover needs. He's not writing a memoir of his past. He's looking to the future. And if you want to get him unstuck, you also want to look to the future and be the leader that this new dog has been waiting for. The beautiful thing about dogs is they live in the now. They may have triggers that set off something, but that's up to you to recognize that and keep them in the moment, moving forward with you, a confident leader that's going to provide the structure that that dog needs in his life and meet his needs every single day. Structure begins with a walk. Leadership begins with the walk. And what will you have when you practice that? Put your ego in your pocket, put your sympathies away, and focus on the now. Give Rover what they need right now, and in the future, you'll have a confident dog that looks to you. Next up, we have the cuddle overload. And I see this both with new owners, with adopted dogs, as well as new puppy owners, people with dogs of all ages and all sizes. They have this need to force themselves on the dog. Every time the dog comes over, they're touching him and hugging him. And you know, when you've got a dog that's been in a shelter for a while or come off the street, the last thing he wants is some stranger putting their hands all over him without an invitation. And let's face it, you will be a stranger to your adopted dog for several months. Imagine if you went up to someone just looking for some comfort, just to hang out in the moment, and that person starts to paw you and put their hands all over you. What are you going to think? You're going to think, I don't really want to be near that person, so I'm just going to go away. And then when you go away, they grab you and pull you back. So as a dog, the only thing that dog can do is turn around and go, get your hands off me, with their mouth. And then what happens? Back to the shelter. So here's the thing. You want your new dog to hang out with you. You want to be a place of safety and security for that dog. Moving on to the gratitude illusion. This one really cracks me up, and you see it on social media all the time. Little video clips of dogs going crazy when they go, oh, look at how happy he is. He knows he's just got adopted. I call BS on that. That's bullshit. They may feel better when they're out of the chaotic shelter environment, but in the shelter, they have predictability. In a new home, with a new family, all of a sudden it's quiet. They may be farthest from grateful. They're looking for you to guide them to safety. They're not writing a thank you note. They're just checking things out. We call that the honeymoon period. It might take a couple of weeks before the real dog comes out. And if you do things right, when the real dog comes out, he's looking to you for more guidance. If you don't, if you fall into the sympathy trap, if you go into cuddle overload, and if you expect them to be grateful, you'll have a dog that will be anything but. So there's ways to overcome that. Keep your emotions in check. Step up as the leader the dog is looking for, calm and assertive, with energy that is attractive, not repulsive. And then the 4th biggest mistake that I see is that chaos of no routine. Like people, Dogs thrive on a predictable daily routine, and they need jobs. So why not give them a job that happens at the same time all the time? Like your morning walk, like your evening walk. Leadership begins on the walk, and leaders provide predictability in your kid's life as well as in your dog's life. That's what they're looking for. And what happens when you exercise your dog in a way that they can expect? We call that the fulfillment formula. Work, rest, play. Walking is working. Rest should be undisturbed, and play should be initiated and ended by you. Leaders begin the game, leaders end the game. The dog knows what to expect, and make sure they're engagement games. Don't buy him a stuffy and just throw it on the floor and expect he's going to go and entertain himself. You've got a new dog here. This is a new potential friend for life. You want him to think that all good things come from you, and he can count on you, or she can count on you to be there in the same way, to show up every single day. And lastly, but not least, there's the too much too soon fiasco. You want to make things right for your brand new dog. You want to make sure he or she is the best behaved dog in the neighborhood, the best behaved dog you've ever had. So before he even comes home, you've signed him up for classes. That's great if it's a brand new puppy. But if it's a dog that's older, that's been in the system, maybe you're the third or fourth or fifth home, who knows? Even if you're only the second home and the dog's been in the shelter for a week, a month, 6 months, who knows? Don't take him into yet another strange environment where standards are expected to be high and he has no idea how to cope with that. Don't throw a come and meet my dog party and invite all your friends over the first day you bring the dog home to come and see what a great dog you've got. Look what I've scored, because the dog won't be ready to cope with that. So don't do it. Instead, keep a calm environment, build your daily routine, which you should have already mapped out before you adopted the dog. Remember, no cuddles. He's not grateful to be there. You have a honeymoon period of 2 to 4 weeks while he or she assesses the situation, learns who's really in charge. Because as I always say, dogs are making notes all the time. Training time is all the time, but that doesn't mean structured training in a group class or some kind of chaos. It means learning what your daily routine will be, knowing what they can expect every day, feed them from hand so they know that you are the provider of all good things in their life now, and they can count on you for that day after day. You can do a ton of behavior shaping and a ton of skills development using food from their regular meal, feeding them from hand. Then they get to know that you are the provider of all things. You are the key to their survival, and that's what they're looking for. And when they're ready to move on, then you can go to whatever level of training you want to go after, or you're willing to work with, so that you can have the companion that you know is inside that dog's head that'll be with you as a friend for life. So there you have it. The top 5 mistakes that we see here at Ontario Dog Trainer with adopters of dogs from shelters and rescue organizations, and tips on how to overcome those 5 mistakes. When you follow those 5 tips, you're welcoming a new companion into your life who will be respectful, fun to be with, and focused on you for as long as the dog is in your life. You will truly have a dog that you can love for life. You will be his forever stop. You want more great training tips? Be sure to click on the button to subscribe to this channel so we can get more training tips to great viewers just like you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the inside.